From one user breaking $1 million on Apple calls, to another who turned around his entire year of losses with two massive W's back to back this month. Here's WallStreetBets' best win so far this August as the market soars back to all-time highs. It's been just a short 4 months since the scares of Liberation Day, tariffs, and talks of a recession, but for the time being at least, the gay bears have been put in their place. Remember, this is not financial advice, I'm just a fellow retard like the rest of you, but let's dive in and see how the degens are getting filthy rich right now. Our first stop is with user Cram0786, who goes by Marky Mark. He's a Limp Bizkit fan, a New Orleans Saints fan, and like many of us here, a retarded ape. Cram's first post in WallStreetBets was just 5 days ago when he defiantly claimed, "Put your money in a high-yield savings account," they said. Cram had over doubled his money in just 6 months, which begs the question, how did he do it? OP says that about 6 months ago, he decided to open a Robinhood account for his savings, adding $900 from each paycheck, so about $2K per month. When he started, of course, normies told him that he was nuts. Put it in a savings account, they said, and shoot for 3 to 4% annual gain. Despite being warned against such, quote, foolishness, Cram decided to start researching and learning about the market and gained what he called a slight understanding. And whether actually skillful or just lucky, there's not much arguing with the success he's encountered. His initial deposit of $12,000 from paychecks is now worth $25,000. Some of his recent gains came from AMD and NVDA calls. It seems to me that Cram had been buying calls that were 1 to 4 weeks from expiration on stocks that he was bullish on. We got to see the duality of WallStreetBets a little bit in the responses, from an optimistic comment mentioning that gains started rolling in once he took trading more seriously and did his homework on options and shares he purchased, to the more cynical side of the forum, which asked, how do people still think they're geniuses, and kind of implied that when the music finally stops for this bull market, it's going to expose many of the traders and blow up their portfolios. Next, we're going to meet with user FatBoyCool. He's never posted on Reddit, let alone WallStreetBets, until yesterday. So far on this channel, we've been looking nearly exclusively at shares and options plays, and I guess this is technically a share play, but FatBoyCool made his gains based on the movement of the underlying Ethereum that ticker FT is based on. For those of you who don't know, Ethereum has had one of the strangest trading patterns I've ever seen in the past few years, continually reaching 4K, dipping to 2K, and repeating over and over again. I'm not a full port crypto bro, but I've been holding a couple of Ethereum myself since 2021, grimacing but gripping my wallet even harder with my diamond hands as it continually rocked up and down again, year after year. The past 6 months have been greatly rewarding to those of us who held, and FatBoyCool rode an even steeper wave up to Valhalla as he bought in leveraged using FT, basically the TQQQ equivalent for Ethereum, moving 2x faster in either direction as Ethereum swings back and forth. FatBoyCool threw 226K, no big deal, into Ethereum T about a week ago, and showcases that within just a week, he pocketed $111,000 in profit. His portfolio now worth over $250,000. Props to him for holding, although I would definitely at least take the cost basis out at this point. I was curious, what did he see in Ethereum? I mean, I've been holding through the bear markets, but I didn't go in leveraged like he did. So being your trusted speculative trading analyst, I asked what his reasoning was. OP said that he was bullish on Ethereum long term and saw the pullback from 4K to under 3,500 after missing out on the quick FOMO-inducing rise from 2.5K up to 4K last month. His bull case for Ethereum is very clearly regulated by the government. There's more institutional money buying, as well as ETFs and treasury companies. It's now recognized as a retirement asset, and just overall had underperformed the crypto market and was ready to roll. Next up, we'll feature a WallStreetBets retard I actually covered back in May. Through 2024, Cockface continued to grow his portfolio and display gain porn for all of WallStreetBets to see. He's still lighting it up with NVDA options, declaring that timing the market is better than time in the market as he plays with QQQ puts. But Cockface's ballsiest play came just this past week when he YOLO'd into GPUS, which is Hyperscale Data. Hyperscale's entire company is worth $41 million in market cap, meaning that this is a penny stock, and Cockface's trade purchased 1% of the entire company. Long story short, Cockface had run up from 100K to 500K on degen plays from NVIDIA to penny stock GPUS, literally buying like 10% of this penny stock company and dumping it for an 8% profit. That was on Robinhood, and this new post claims that he's grown from 20K to 170K, or 770% year to date. It's infidelity, so I'm not quite sure if he blew the other $500,000 or not that was in Robinhood, but regardless, this specific run-up is very impressive. I've screenshotted just a few of the recent positions, but they're all the same. Cockface's new strategy has pivoted from buying penny stocks to buying FDs. I can't say what FD stands for on here, but go ahead and look it up. And he claims now that there's no way this shit is sustainable long term. So he bought SPY a couple of days ago and says that now it's time to chill out. You ever see those pictures of Satan the serpent trying to tempt Eve in the Garden of Eden to eat the forbidden fruit, even though she's already got everything that she needs? That's kind of the vibe I got from Bam Buys House's comment. You were able to 8x your money. Surely you can pull off just a 2x for one last go. Time will tell if Cogface parks the nearly 200k in SPY for the foreseeable future or hops back into degeneracy with the rest of us. And now for an exciting milestone, user Dangerous Chemical 8 has broken the $1 million mark. Unfortunately, not a ton of lore from this guy. All I could find was that he had 421k as of 6 months ago after some Coca-Cola calls, and he also made some nice gains off of NVDA this spring. But it was just this past week when Dangerous Chemical posted in WallStreetBets, quote, "We did it," showcasing Apple calls that are now far in the money and expiring in 5 months, as well as an S&P 500 long call position. I thought this interaction was pretty funny and was echoing what I was thinking. Unless I get part of it, there really isn't a we. You made it, not we did it. But come to think of it, some of WallStreetBets was in on this with him, on the other side of the trade that is, sponsoring his $1 million milestone. Not only has WallStreetBets been making some ridiculously profitable plays lately, but recently the Gigastonks Discord server has become a hotspot for degenerates like you and I to discuss shares in crypto. One of the boys in there has been practically there from day one. Slip Smokes turned $450 into $1,500 on some crypto small caps, to another waking up just this morning to a 377% return on AMD calls, to another who caught Super Microcomputer on the way up and pocketed a nice 25% profit on his position. We've got something special going on in this server. It's only been a couple of weeks and we've got over 100 of us already. We've got channels covering all topics from gain porn to the Wendy's dumpster of losses, crypto, earnings plays, and a really knowledgeable group of traders ready to discuss the next play with you. Hop on in and check it out. Back to WallStreetBets gains, meet Better Mongoose 1722. This guy's story made me slam my desk with FOMO and envy. Better Mongoose's only other posts on Reddit involved some questions about a sugar diet. I'd never heard of this before. It sounds like exactly what you'd expect from a full-time retarded trader to put in their body. I wasn't snarking anymore though once I saw the Robinhood screenshots from OP. Better Mongoose threw it all in different call and put options throughout the first week of August, and he had one of the greatest comeback arcs of all time. From 82k early this year, down to $8,000 in July, and then back up to 93k in his portfolio by August 6th. WallStreetBets wasn't totally sold though, claiming that he's now hooked and probably going to lose it all. But they, and I, were not ready for what Mongoose would post next. In fact, he was getting a little cocky with it. He called it a, quote, mongoose play, showing off his now 219k in buying power in his portfolio. The 3.5x bagger came from S&P 500 puts on August 7th and 8th. He bought at the money and sold in the money at the bottom. It's a good thing he did, or they would have expired completely worthless. WallStreetBets is still skeptical though, one user writing, "You will lose everything" in crayons for him. So will Mongoose keep the winning streak, or will he blow up his account and meet us back at zero? Time will tell, and for now, I'm adding him to my followed accounts. Final WallStreetBets case study of the day comes from Old Witch, a Redditor who's long on Reddit. Back in June 2024, he bought some Reddit $60 calls. You'd really call these calls leaps because they're longer than 1 year to expiration. Old Witch rode them up from $24,000 that he deposited up to $67k by November of 2024. As the share price rose from roughly at the money, around $60, to $113 per share for Reddit. This was far above his break-even price of $82. And 7 months ago, with Reddit stock trading at $175 per share, his position ballooned to $120k. OP kept doubling down on Reddit calls with strike prices at $150, $160, and $200, and returned this week to remind us that, so far, he 10x'd his fun account just this year. Obviously, most of the gains came from Reddit, but Old Witch said that some of the tendies were also printed from Google and AMD. When reminded that he had to cash out some of what he would eventually owe to the IRS, OP half-jokingly said that if you lose it all in the same year, then you owe no taxes. Take that, Uncle Sam. I've got my eyes on some other communities to cover that kind of neighbor WallStreetBets when it comes to speculative trading, whether these are stocks, real estate, crypto, or straight-up gambling. For example, someone on the Gigastonks Discord brought to my attention Buck My Sauls on Polymarket. The dude basically lives and dies by the premise that nothing ever happens. He bets large positions on likely bets, and he's turned 20k into nearly $1 million so far. There were no major winners. The neat thing about this guy was he made small increments of money on bets like Trump not recognizing Russian sovereignty over Ukraine, Jerome Powell not getting fired, and there being no official Solana reserve in 2025. Make sure to like and subscribe to Gigastonks. Let me know what you'd like to see more of as well in the comments. Let me know what you've been investing in. I'm very curious. I'll see you here or in the Discord very soon. Until then, to the moon, fellow retards.